Hello, Dorothy Watt, homeopath and holistic wellness advocate here, and I thought I would tell you a story today. It's called And It All Started with a Spider. Now, I met up with a friend recently, and it was someone that I originally met in a baby group. So we had our children around about the same time. And remember, this is a story, so don't try to think about who it is in reality. This is a complete story, and any resemblance to anybody living or dead is completely accidental. I met up with a friend recently, hadn't seen her for a really long time, but you know how it is. Certain people come in and out of your lives, and she invited me round for a cup of tea. So I went to her house, hadn't been there for such a long time. Must have been getting on for 20 years, I guess. And went up and knocked at the front door, and my phone rang. So I answered my phone, and it was my friend saying, "I'm just unlocking the side gate, I'll be with you in a minute." I thought, why don't you just open the front door? But sure enough, there she was. She unlocked the side gate, and there she appeared. And she said, "Oh, we don't use our front door anymore. We always come in through the side gate and round the back. We've done it for a long time." So, so I followed her, and we went round the side, in through the back, and into their kitchen. And when we'd got our drinks, I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Is there something wrong with your front door that's stopping you using it?" And she said, "Oh, well, not really. This is just the way we do things. You know, it all started when my son was much younger, and he was really, really scared of spiders. And one day there was a huge spider right up in the corner by the front door, you know, just in the top corner, so that you couldn't go through the front door without that spider glaring at you. And she said there was nothing I could do to persuade my son to go near the front door. So in order to get him out of the house, we went out of the back, went round the side, unlocked the side gate, and went round, and that's how we got out of the house. And so when we got back into the house, we did the same in reverse. And then she said we just got into a habit of doing it. Because he was so scared of spiders, he really just still didn't want to go near the front door, and began to associate the front door with a spider, even though the spider was really long gone and you could show him that there was no spider there. This was a really long time ago though, so this was, say, 15 years ago. So I was a little surprised that that was still happening. And so I said, "That was a really long time ago. Why are you still doing it? Do you not want to go back to using your front door again?" And she said, "Well," she said, "my son just felt so much more comfortable going out of the back, and it was so much easier to get him out of the house and back in again, and he didn't have to be scared. And when he went to secondary school and had his own front door key and let himself in because I was at work, that's what he wanted. He wanted a back door key and a key to the gate so that he could come in the way he felt safe." So I said, "Yeah, but he doesn't even live at home now. Can you not go back to using your front door now?" And she said, "Oh, well, it's got so many advantages doing it this way." She said, "We never have thought of it, but there's so many advantages. Oh, yeah, come on, I'll show you our hall, show you the front of the house." And we've, you know, when we decorated the hall, it was just fantastic because we didn't have to get a new mat. We didn't have to get a new rug by the front door because the other one just hadn't been used. and we don't have to put the light on down that end of the hall, and we don't have to, so we're using less electricity, and we don't have to, I can't remember what the other thing was, but there was something else that was a really good reason for not doing it. Well, you could say reason, or you could say justification. And I looked at the mat that hadn't been changed when the rest of the hall was decorated, and what I saw was something that was in a colour scheme that completely didn't go with anything else, and had obviously just been kept because it didn't need changing. And I knew my friend was really house proud and really keen on her colours, and I couldn't help thinking, well, surely that's jarring a bit. But no, this was a good thing. So, but he doesn't even live at home anymore. So, well, but when he comes to visit, this is what he wants to do. This is how he expects to get into the house. You know, this is his safe way of doing things. And it's sort of like a ritual when he comes round, that we open the side gate and let him in that way. And, do you know, I really enjoyed seeing my friend, but I couldn't help thinking, that could have been me, you know. It would be so easy to see your child being scared, A, to not like the fuss that's going on, and B, to want desperately to keep your child safe. And when they're upset like that, there's an easy way of doing that, and it's to avoid what it is that they're scared of. But there is no reason in the UK to be scared of a spider. There are no poisonous spiders in the UK. It's just something dark and small and creepy. But actually, is it in anyone's interests to avoid dark, small, creepy spiders just because they're scary? Because by avoiding things like that, by actually giving in to that fear, by keeping your child safe, it feels good at the time. I'm protecting them, I'm their security. But you think about it further down the line, what you're doing, and it's so easy to do this, what you're doing is you're actually teaching them that they're right to be scared, that there is a reason to need to avoid that spider, that their fear is rational and justified. So that boy, that teenager, that young adult has now had that fear of spiders habitualized, turned into something that's okay, and that's something that's reasonable, and something that is associated, that avoiding them is associated with safety. And I'm really not sure that that is in anyone's long-term interests. It's harder to say, I can see you're scared, but it's okay. It's okay. That spider's much smaller than you. It's not going to hurt you. Let's do this together. Let's confront this fear. Obviously not words you'd use with a young child. By confronting the fear, which is irrational, actually that person's life is opened up, it's broadened, and that person then has a larger world as a result. By giving in to the fear, by keeping someone safe, by keeping them away from something, their world gets smaller, because as a result spiders are out, and then maybe by association anything linked to that becomes out as well. And also the notion of safety becomes linked to you very clearly. You're the person who can keep them safe. So as they grow up, rather than becoming more secure because you've avoided something they were scared of, they become less secure because they're reliant on you, and they know that there are scary things out there that they can't deal with, that they are right to want to avoid. And the really interesting thing is that, you know, my friend was still doing this even when her son had left home. And she was justifying it in terms of saving electricity, saving wear on the rug, saving cleaning. That's the other thing that I forgot. And that's also very easy to do, isn't it? You get into a habit, you get into a routine of doing things which may or may not have had a reason in the first place, but once you've got this routine in place, this habit, it's very easy to find ways to justify your chosen course of behaviours rather than seeing your behaviour for what it is, confronting it and going back to normality. Because let's face it, if you have a choice between the direct route out of the front door and going out of the back all the way around the side, you've got 2 doors to unlock, 2 doors to lock instead of 1, you're walking all that extra distance. In a week, you're probably looking at a good half hour of extra time that you're using. So if that's in a week, in a month you've got a couple of hours. So in a year, that's 6 hours of time that you could be spending doing something else. But you've justified doing that because it made sense, because of this original habit that you got into. Whose interest is it actually in? And I've just shown how you could justify not doing that behaviour quite easily. So you can get things to back up whatever decision you make about doing things, because that's how our brains work. And it's very easy to be able to get evidence to support either point of view, whatever it is that you're doing. So my friend is probably going to spend the rest of her life going out of her back door and round the side for a reason which finished 15 years ago. It's really easy to get into those habits. And I'd like you to think, having listened to this story, if you've hung with me every step of the way, just have a think. Because over the last 18 months, our world's been completely turned upside down. Are there any habits that you have got into as a result of this coronavirus that you've just got into the habit of doing without there really being a reason behind it? Or something that you can justify easily, but if you step back from it, maybe there are other things, and where maybe there's another point of view which would make equal or more sense if you take a dispassionate view. Just have a think. Are there any habits that you've got into that seem really sensible to you now, but which if you take a really dispassionate view maybe aren't in your long-term interests? Let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear. Bye for now.